Welcome back to KTN Prime, and thank you for staying with us. As hinted earlier, we're set to evaluate the latest developments in the world of politics with my guests who are already in studio. Allow me to introduce them. On my immediate right, I'm joined by Kiroga Thuku, who's the UDA NEC member and equally the member of County Assembly for Chinga or Shinga Ward in Othaya. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
It's great to have you with us. It's been a while. Should I say Happy New Year? It's too late.
Happy New Year, sir.
Happy New Year. Karibu sana. Thanks for your time.
Asante.
We're equally joined by advocate and political analyst Kiroko Ndegwa. Ndegwa, karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Asante for your time. And gentlemen, we're set to review a couple of things, and I'd like us to begin with the very latest, because just today evening, the United Opposition has sent a letter to the Inspector General notifying the IG of their intention to visit his office to raise serious complaints regarding the safety and security of the opposition leaders and their supporters. Of course, this is coming just days after that unfortunate incident that played out in Waitima Church in Othaya, where one of the opposition leaders, Rigathi Gachagua, including others, were attending a church service. And according to the United Opposition, this is the latest in a string of incidents that have been targeting them. They quoted up to 24 incidents in that letter to the Inspector General of Police, where the opposition was on the receiving end of perhaps what you could call police excesses. And so far, no reported questioning of suspects or arrests, with security chiefs seeming to ignore queries about the status of investigations into the chaos. Now, I'd like to begin with you, Bwana MCA, because you hail from Nyeri County, Othaya, and this was a county that hosted that unfortunate turn of events. And what do you make of the response so far, even as we castigate that event? Because is there goodwill from the government to actually get to the bottom of that matter and end instances of political intolerance?
Thank you very much. I think, number one, we have to start where it matters most and denounce that action. That was very wrong. Especially, because it happened in a church. I'm not saying it should be happening anywhere else.
Yeah.
But the fact that it happened in a church made it so bad. This church, apart from adults, it had children. It was a very nasty thing, and one would never want to see such things happening in our society. But then again, we need to ask ourselves, how have we reached here? Because that is the most important thing. Someone said, if you want to see the future, if you want to avoid the things that have happened now and in the past, and in future, if you want to avoid bad things, you look into the past a bit so that you can interrogate and see how to avoid them. Recently, we had another incident, still in church. This time, the leaders of the opposition were there. It involved the Ram Women Lab. She was almost undressed next to the pulpit there, just because she had said something that didn't go. It was her opinion, but didn't go down well with the people. Up to now, these leaders making all manner of noises, we have never had them castigate what happened to Honorable Muthoni Marubu, the Ram Women representative. So, what we are saying, of course, two wrongs don't justify, don't make a right. Yeah. Again, in these stations, especially in our region, I remember another time, and I really complained about this, and many people complained about this. The former deputy president went on TV. He said the people of Mount Kenya region should start jeering and shouting down all the people who are not following him. That one, that is simply incitement. Another day he went, he said, in church, these people who are following William Ruto, who are uncircumcised. You see the kind of language we are putting across. So what I'm saying is this. All leaders, the former deputy president, have every right to tour any part of the country. He's a Kenyan, it's his constitutional right. But then again, in the same vein, every person, especially those of us from the Mount Kenya region, who are members of the UDA, who are supporters of President William Ruto, and I must add, we have no apologies to make for being supporters of President William Ruto. We also deserve, as much as we respect the rights of our opponents, they also should respect our rights. It is a constitutional right. I come from a constituency, the late Mzee Kibaki's constituency. May God continue resting his heart in, his soul in peace. At one time, at the apex of his leadership, my own ward, we had a councillor. A councillor, I think we just had, that was actually the last councillor.
Okay.
He was elected on Chama cha Mwananchi. Mzee Kibaki never said, oh, I don't know, this is Akakonia, this is a Kuda Gutume, this is a, those choice words we have been, this is a betrayer.
It's a mole.
It's a mole. A betrayer of what?
Okay.
There is nowhere we sat and said we must support one person or the other. Let's follow the Constitution. From where I stand, I'm a supporter of President William Ruto.
All right.
I'm in his party's neck. I'm a supporter of his deputy, Professor Kithure Kindiki. Those are the leaders of my party. And that should be respected the same way I'm respecting the opposition and saying it's their constitutional right. I'm hearing them saying they are coming to there on Sunday. I would urge our supporters, keep off their meetings. Let them have a peaceful meeting. Mm-hmm. But they also, because I come from that area, and I can tell you, this is a culmination of some very dangerous moves we've been seeing there. For example, after that incident, they have been saying, oh, we don't want to hear about anyone here saying UDA. UDA will be there, the opposition will be there. Let's respect each other's, position.
Okay.
And let me finish by saying, yesterday, with me, I have a foundation called Kirugaduku Foundation. We've been supporting schools for more than the last 10 years. Even before I was elected an MCA, because this is my second term, we were supporting the children ministry.
Okay.
So yesterday, because those children who are affected by that incident, they are majorly from 3 schools around that area. So as a foundation, also as a leader, you see now, our party recently advertised for those who want to vie in 2027 using the party to make applications. And I applied, I'll be vying for Member of Parliament or their constituency 2027, God willing. Yesterday, I spent the whole day
with the children.
With the children.
Yeah.
We normally give geometrical sets every year, but yesterday, because we want those children to heal, I took some goodies. They were very happy.
All right.
I told them, Manko is here, don't worry. And that is it.
But at the end of the day, what does justice look to those children? Does justice, justice should not only be done, but should seem to be done.
True.
So at the end of the day, it doesn't seem like there's any justice in terms of finding out who exactly was behind that particular altercation.
But it would be too early to make such a conclusion. Luckily, currently we have one of the best officers heading our police force, Inspector General Douglas Kaja. He's laughing. That man is
that's highly debatable.
No, he's a very, I don't know whether you know him, but me, I know him in person. He's a highly professional, policeman.
Professional?
Yes, very polished.
Then
very polished. Let me finish.
Briefly.
Yes, he's very polished. He's a good man. And of course, the minister and the IG announced the beginning of investigations. Because you guys, one thing that is very funny with politics. A politician you will see him here screaming down, but he gets your attention when he is down, but he might have given the opponent a blow that is so dangerous. Then he is not even touched, he falls down. Now you see him screaming.
Okay. Let's hear from Wakili. Two wrongs don't make a right, of course, and politics is a dirty game. But at the end of the day, there are key questions that are rising, Wakili.
Yes.
Whether this National Police Service is truly independent, and whether it's being used to actually settle political scores. Because as much as Bwana Kiroga here says that, the opposition equally talks dirty, quote unquote,
Yes.
we haven't seen government-leaning members of parliament and leaders being tear-gassed, their convoys
Absolutely.
being attacked, quote unquote.
Yes.
So talk to us about your concerns on this matter.
And I like it that you say that two wrongs don't make a right. Indeed, my learned colleague, my colleague here was too wrong about it. That his definition of what might have triggered the attacks. The truth of the matter is that the writings are on the wall. The attacks carries the government's DNA. At the end of the day, the role of any government is to protect lives and property. Now, we have a government that since the Gen Z protest has not had the accountability to come and say, these are the people responsible, this is the steps we've taken, and every other time, led by none other than the president himself, they are always passing in bulk. Children are attacked in a church, and you will hear, it is the deputy president who called people to Kotokonia. How? These people must be taking us for fools. At the end of the day, the buck stops with the president. It is only the government that has monopoly to violence. But what we've had is a well-calculated scheme to silence dissidents through violence, through intimidation, sometimes even through the courts of law. It is not lost on us that barely 6 months ago, Gen Z were held in court, called terrorists, branded terrorists, charged in court with very fictitious charges. Now, the same Gen Zs, albeit younger, are the one being tear-gassed in churches in the name of, and we have a government that doesn't seem to either have control or they are merely smearing platitudes to us, telling us how they condone the violence, yet they are the perpetrators of the violence. To date, the Inspector General, or rather, even those people who surround him, and none other than the Minister in charge of Interior, he's on record as having told the police, before live cameras, that shoot anyone who gets near a police station. And he even declares that if the police get in trouble for being held accountable, they will not cooperate. I mean, that's a government led by a daft. Actually, it's a government led by a person who does not believe in the rule of law itself, who not so long ago, barely around 15 years, 16 years ago, led the campaigns against the Constitution. It is the same president we are hearing making very, very shocking attacks, saying countries that have since progressed have either been led by dictators. And he's clearly playing by the script. What I must say that Kenyans are on their own. We have a government that is literally cannibalizing their own children. And all these platitudes about how they don't condone violence, how they will investigate, how they are very quick to point fingers at other people, non-state actors. It's actually shocking. If I were the president today, I would have gladly resigned, because clearly he might not have read his job description. And the issue of the Inspector General being a professional, I heard that and I was shocked, because it is this first Inspector General who has ever appeared in a political rally, somewhere I think in Nyeri or thereabout, Muiga. He's the only Inspector General I remember standing atop of a roof of a car in a rally that the president was. I mean, how unprofessional can that be? We have what we now have is patronage, political patronage. That is watering down the gains that were once promised by the Constitution, and a president who is too sly to acknowledge his failures and who takes Kenyans for fools. We have an Inspector General who doesn't seem to understand the command responsibility doctrine. I can predict with the precision of a Jewish prophet that in a few years' time after the Inspector General has retired, surely he will, as soon as the current president and the Minister of Interior have retired, they'll have a plethora of criminal and civil suits. And the command responsibility shall find its roots deep into in the annals of our history as a reminder of what not to do when you get to power. Unfortunately, they call themselves teetotalers, but they are so drunk with power, completely inebriated. And maybe time is ripe.
Interesting. Let's just take a look at what the president had to say not too long ago, because you've talked about matters to do with political patronage. And while President William Ruto was chairing the UDA party's NGC, he appeared quite bullish and confident of his re-election, adding that he's poised to win the next presidential contest with up to 2 to 3 million votes. This, of course, in the backdrop of an anticipated pre-election agreement between UDA and ODM. This is part of what the president had to say during that meeting in State House, Nairobi.
We can confidently say that we have been faithful to the implementation of the agenda upon which the people of Kenya had voted for this administration. And we are ready to face our competitors with our scorecard and ask them what they can do better than what we have done. That is the competition we want to have with our competitors. We do not want to compete on the basis of insults. We do not want to compete on the basis of all the other things that they are engaged in. We want to compete on the basis of transformation of our nation. Who has better ideas, who have a better scorecard, and who have a better plan for the future of the nation. And the reason why you have a pamphlet, kila mtu wako na pamphlet hapa saizi, on the scorecard of the party, so that you can stand on any forum and explain to the people of Kenya where we were, where we are, and where we are going.
Okay, so he's hinting at issue-based politics forming the basis of the 2027 presidential contest. And you were there. We saw you seated at the front row. Okay, talk to us about that particular meeting. What exactly transpired? Was there a status update on that pre-election agreement between your party and ODM? And the president said he's completed up to 80% of his promises that were given during the 2022 general election. Is this something you agree with?
Yeah, of course. Things are not as bad as some people would rather we believe. Now, allow me first to collect something here.
Sure.
You know, my brother says the president talked about, you know, things are led in a dictatorial way. You know, I've seen them even cutting the president's speech. What actually the president said was, in some countries, the president talks, you know, they have those, you know, the president talks and that is the rule. You know, those dictatorships.
Yes.
And so they achieve results first because they follow what he says. But he said in our case, we are a democracy. And it is there, it is contained in that speech. You know, if you want to argue, we can listen. We are not going anywhere, we can listen.
Fair enough.
So,
okay,
that should start collected.
Okay.
Also, he is saying that the IG, I don't know, he climbed into which caste. You know, these guys are used to distorting facts. I was in that meeting. And what
was the IG there or not? He was.
He was, but does it mean the IG can offer security anywhere? And if he has a reason to be, in fact, if the IG,
That's quite professional
listen,
now.
if the IG, see the opposition is saying they will want to have a meeting, there on Saturday.
Yes.
If the IG have a reason to want to be there, which robust him to be there?
He must be apolitical.
No,
that's the
of
whole
course.
issue.
But
He
the
must
thing is
rise
this,
above.
he is in charge of security. Where we were, the IG comes from that area. You see? So, I don't, you can tell us which section of the law he violated. Just don't bring blanket
So let me
condemnation.
ask you this.
Yes.
Do you have an issue with the JSC vice chairperson having attended that meeting?
No, he's a politician. He has been a governor.
Come on.
Come on. Let us
No,
go
no,
to
no,
the.
no, no.
Let us go to the other part.
Okay, we'll get back to that.
Yeah, we'll get back to that.
Yeah.
But the issue is this. You have asked me about what transpired in that meeting.
Yes.
Yes, we met as the National Governing Council of our party. Mm-hmm. The president was giving us the direction of the party and, of course, the impeding partnership in the with our broad-based colleagues. We want to formalize issues. Of course, we have met as the UDA NEC, and we have given our party leader his excellency the president the go-ahead to engage our brothers and sisters in the ODM. And also the NGC okayed that. And you see, people think we are chest thumping, but we are giving them facts. And we are here. And I wish my brother will accept to come back, God willing, and giving us the days.
We'll call him, no problem.
We will, the broad-based partnership between UDA, and now UDA is a combination of what was UDA and the ANC. Now we combine with ODM. There is no way. This so-called opposition, we shall whip them by at least 2 million votes. And in a good day, we can make that one 3 million votes. UDA alone, we are in the process of doing elections, grassroots elections.
Okay.
And they will culminate all the way to the national elections. UDA alone will have over 500,000 positions. These are...
What positions?
Yes, because in every polling center, look at this guy, the way he's being...
No, I'm trying to understand this.
Yes.
500,000 positions.
Because in every polling center in the Republic of Kenya, we have 20 officials. How many polling centers do we have in the country? Around 44,000.
40,000,
Yeah.
They
So,
are bound to increase with the continuous registration.
I will forget about increasing. I'm talking about the one already existing.
So these are party members or what? 500,000 positions?
No,
what?
positions, those are party officials.
Or party officials
Because
now
in every
across the
polling
country?
center, across the country.
Okay.
Because in every polling center, we have 20 officials. In every ward, we have 20 officials. In every constituency, we have 20 officials.
All right.
All that way. So we have over 500,000 officials. These alone, we are almost 30%,
So in short, you're confident of winning the 2027 general election?
And even the opposition,
Mm-hmm.
they know we are defeating them. That is why you see them all, IEBC, or Inspector General Police, or blah, blah. They know we are whipping them very nicely. And look, it is
We
not
need to-
we are physically doing it in Novaya.
Let me give it back to you.
Briefly here.
When you hear us talking even about 2 terms for President William Ruto, when you hear us talking about defeating the opposition or winning early election, this is informed by the achievements we want to have for the people of Kenya. I'm telling you, for example, now in our place, we have a competition between an opposition which want to portray the president and the government in very negatively, and us who are in government and who are insistent on portraying the good work the president has been doing. For example, Mwai Kibaki Hospital in Dhaya.
Okay.
Before President Ruto came into power, we had the people of Udaya and the people of Nyeri know the problems he had in that hospital. President Ruto has come, he has made it an independent institution.
Okay.
Now, most of the services that people are going to seek elsewhere, they are starting
right
to trickle there.
Okay.
There are a lot of things. We are addressing the issue of roads, we are addressing the issue of markets, and that's why the president is right when he says, let's compete on ideas that are helpful to Mwananchi. This nonsense of Kasongo, you know, it doesn't
forget
help
the
the people in a
slogans.
way.
Actually, it
Wakili,
does. It does.
As you perhaps reply to what
Yes.
he said and
Yes.
that meeting, including how the president is confident about that margin in terms of beating the opposition, what do you make of the appearance of the vice chairperson of the Judicial Service Commission in that particular meeting? Because others say it's a display of loyalty to the appointing authority, which is the president in one way or the other. Others say it violates constitutional principles requiring
Absolutely.
strict political neutrality when you're holding such independent commission positions.
Absolutely, and I wouldn't agree more that the vice chair, Honorable Isaac Ruto, once stood a governor in the county of Bomet.
Yes.
He was, as at that time, a member of a party called Chama Cha Mashinani. How the same, he has now metamorphosed into a UDA party member, and he does not hide it, is what perturbs me, particularly putting into consideration that he's a member of an independent institution called the Judicial Service Commission. It is supposed to be apolitical. I would not be surprised if we go down the route of the vice chair to find the CJ tomorrow sitting in the neck committee of a political party. Then he's supposed to preside over these matters before her own court. She's supposed to decide in a matter that she's already has interest in. I think as a country, if there is a time when we really need to go back to the drawing board and ask ourselves, is it political mongrelly or lack of principles, or is it a problem with the individual who we entrust with this position? Is now we need to now revisit that issue. But most importantly, it's also about how these individuals are put into those spaces. For instance, as a member of the Law Society of Kenya, we ordinarily elect people, we vote people into the Judicial Service Commission. We vote the male representative, the female representative. I would be surprised if once that person has taken over that position, for them now to start, for them to forget about their core mandate in the JSC and start focusing on some, political slogans. That would actually water down the confidence we have in those offices, and in particular those officers. I think, and this is my humble plea, that if there is ever such a time when the JSC needs to relook at the membership of Honorable Isaac Ruto is now. He needs to down his tools and focus on politics, but he cannot serve two masters. However, before I digress so much, there's some very important aspects I've had my very good friend here mention about the statements by the president, and in particular about his confidence in winning with 3 million. I think if we've ever had a tone-deaf president, there can never be any other time than this. This is the same president who, when the Gen Z went out to protest, he came out gun-blazing, called them terrorists, called them all manner of criminal names, called them people who wanted to overthrow the government. I'm trying to get the exact phrase for it. Then the following day, he's out there smiling, saying he's now rejected the finance bill. And remember, the president, unlike any other person, receives intelligence on daily basis. How he missed that base, that particular issue. This is the same president who has had a plethora of promises. And I'm surprised to hear Mheshimiwa here saying that he has achieved 80%. Is it the 80% of denials or 80% of achievements? Because the one president who even promised diapers cannot even afford to pay for, we don't have functional, insurance, hospital insurance. The one president who promised to bring Mama Mboga from down to up, bottom up, is the same one who is now banding them in different categories and even putting them at band 4. Is the same one who is unable to give proper capitation to our schools. Is the same president who is unable to even know who is abducting who in this country. He's unable to, I think if there is ever such a time when we have a kakistocracy for a presidency, it is now. And
but is it all negative? Because there's some who might argue whether it's the appointment of judges, whether it's, the implementation of some of these policies he had promised. He's actually tried. That Kenya was worse economically, that at least
is it
right
any
now,
better? No, I doubt it's any better. And if my colleague may allow me,
yes.
If indeed Kenya is any better, how are we in terms of spending power? Has he not taxed us to death, threefold us? He's now forcing down our throats the contribution to NSSF, against a backdrop of a struggling economy, people being unable to put food on the table. If it is anything to go by, even the parameters for cost of living, such as fuel, when he got into power, he had promised to take it down. What have we been having? If in terms of the dollar exchange, it's even performed worse. We have a president who seems to be very good at writing history.
The dollar exchange isn't performing worse. I don't think so. It's
when he got into power, it actually rose to, it actually parachuted above the ceiling. Then currently, I'm sure they are now mad. And you remember, the then finance minister, Professor Njuguna Ndung'u, saying that the dollar is actually finding its rightful place in the market. So indeed, what they were admitting is, look, our shilling is not that good. So it shot up. This is a problem created by the same regime. Now, once they have corrected it, they are saying, look, we are the heroes. I think they should not be praised for doing what is the obvious. It is like for having to praise a driver for knowing how to drive. Actually, this one is merely trying. But more often than not, he has been failing. I would say 80%, probably delivered 20%. About the appointment of judges, I doubt that he has much of a mandate. He may have probably done better than his predecessor, who said he would revisit on the Maraga-led judiciary.
Yes.
But it is not a prerogative of the president to reward an arm of a government. Remember, the Chief Justice and the President are both leaders of a different arms of the government. Yeah, so the President is not benevolent. Okay. He is merely bound by the laws of Kenya, in particular, the Constitution. He should not come to us with a messianic phrase that, look, I delivered you. Delivered us from what?
Okay, interesting. Let's hear what the United Opposition had to say in terms of its demands to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, because they paid a courtesy call not too long ago, and they had a lengthy meeting with the IEBC chairperson and some of the commissioners, pressing for firm assurances of a free, fair and credible election in 2027, and they equally added that they won't accept the technology firm Smartmatic's participation in that particular election. Let's listen in to some of their concerns.
We have raised a number of issues of concern about building trust of the Electoral Commission by Kenyans. We have raised issues of the just immediate past by-election and the one now coming. Issues about security.
We started by telling them the perception out there is that this is a William Ruto commission, and we gave them the opportunity to prove us wrong.
We have agreed that we will set up a technical team on behalf of the United Opposition, and they will also appoint a technical team so that they can go through all those issues that we raised blow by blow, and we will have another meeting to go through these issues.
We have demanded that we must have a roadmap, an election timetable that will be open and transparent, and that will be able to engage the opposition quarterly to address the issues.
The next general election is very emotive, and they need to prepare adequately, and they need to gain the confidence of the people of Kenya that they will deliver a credible election. Mass voter registration will begin on the 29th of March. We have told them we don't think that is enough time. They need to do it for 2 months or 3. They have said they will start with 1 month.
Okay, just an array of some of the issues that they raised during a press conference after that meeting with the IEBC commissioners. But what do you make of their concerns?
I'll come to that, but you know my brother here.
All right.
You know, and I'm astounded.
Mm-hmm.
He have the audacity to look straight in the TV and speak, so many untruths. Let me jog his memory. When President Uhuru Kenyatta was retiring, the dollar was exchanging at 160 shillings. Today, yes, ask the experts to call in. Today, it's exchanging at 130. That's an improvement or a deterioration higher. A packet of unga was retailing at almost 250. Today, it's slightly over 100. Fertilizer was retailing at 7,500. Today, it's retailing at 2,500. Affordable housing. And I remember even the former deputy president saying, anyone opposing affordable housing must be having something wrong with their head. They were saying, I don't know. This affordable housing, they have created employment. What I'm trying to say is this.
Mm-hmm.
The problem, the oppositionists, with the one seated right next to me here.
And the problem is because the dollar was at 120.
No, it wasn't.
In September 2022,
no. It was at 100. It was at 160.
But then
therefore
means the president got sworn in sometime in 2023.
Leave him with 100,000. I leave him with
no need to kuekelea.
I don't want to take money from him.
Let me finish. You see, now he is not even allowing me to prosecute my point because
I'll protect you.
I'm exposing him.
Yes.
So the issue is this. The president and his government, assisted by his deputy and the whole government, we have a lot of achievements we can pinpoint. And let me come to the point of the comments you have just asked me about here.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at our opposition leaders keenly, you will see people who are in a panic mood. I was part of the team that went to campaign for our parliamentary candidate in Bele.
And he was chased away from a police station.
I remember.
Right, I was wearing yellow. I was wearing yellow. That was not a party color.
Okay.
That was a yellow attire.
Okay.
You have to distinguish. You are a lawyer, Bwana. Okay, fine.
Proceed, yes.
So you can see an opposition that is in panic mode because I was saying, like in Bele, 3 weeks. 2.5, 3 weeks to the election, we were hearing a certain opposition leader saying, Kasogo, Soprano, Governor Balile, they have opened a hotel. I'm going there to close that hotel. They came there. We whipped them. They said we had stolen. But it was strategy. Our strategy was superior to theirs. Theirs is just making noise like the one you have just seen there. What we are saying, I'm telling you, these people have sensed defeat. That is why you hear them, Inspector General of Police, IEBC. But, again, our strategy as a party, the way we are delivering on our mandate to the people, and that is why you have seen them trying to distract us. But we are focused, led by our captain, the president himself.
Okay.
We are focused on achieving goals for Kenyans And I'm telling you, they can learn, but they cannot hide. We will deliver, and I'm telling you, they have been trying to divert us to those sloganeering and what have you, but we will compete with them based on the performance of this government. And I'm telling them, most of the, those projects we have started, we'll have matured by next year, before we reach the next elections. Most of the projects, the roads,
Including
the markets,
violence in
the affordable housing, even the markets, there is even one in my ward, they will have, they will have been concluded.
So that will be a sweetener.
We will whip them even more, because Kenyans will be seeing the difference between talkers and performers, and this is a government of performers.
Okay, and
we are still waiting for the road in Mombasa Road. Do you remember the president said that by the time Kenyans come back from Christmas, we'll have a very good road on Mombasa Road.
We are planning.
And I'm wondering, might it have been built in dreamland? And now we need to snap back to, we need to reality. I'm looking at a rewriting of history. Unless the president was sworn in, sometimes in June of 2023, when the dollar was exchanging at around 160. In September, I remember, if my memory serves me right, that the dollar, as at the time when the current president was sworn in, was exchanging with at Kenya shillings 120 and a few cents. How now the president has improved it by raising the stakes is what perturbs me. I hear how focused a government is, and how the president was confident that he would employ people by creating what we call affordable housing. Something wrong with the affordable housing. It is not demand-driven. As Kenyans, we cannot focus on secondary needs. I don't think Kenyans have a shortage of houses. I also don't think our economy is strong enough to afford people affordable. Are they even affordable to begin with? How many people are unable to support their basic needs of housing, shelter, education, and healthcare? I hear my learned colleague talking about the markets, the roads. I hear the last time I heard the president talk about creating a dual carriage in Thika Road. Maybe he might need to fast forward. We are now in 2026. That dual carriage Thika Road was built by Kibaki sometimes in 2010 before he exited. Now the same talk now metamorphosed into he's going to build an expressway.
That is what he meant.
Where is the expressway, unless that's an express lie?
What?
The lie that we are going to have an expressway in Thika Road.
Was it on Thika Road, or are you talking about the road to Nakuru?
From Nairobi, in Nakuru we have the Rironi Road, but the president talked about an expressway from Nairobi to Thika, and it will happen.
It will
my
happen.
brother
I
here,
know it will happen.
My brother
but
here.
Let
him finish,
but you see, my brother here. Allow me this interjection. My brother reminds me of a person. He hates you so much. He sees you in a river, and he accuses you of raising so much dust. His attacks on the government.
So he's throwing the baby with the bathwater.
But maybe it's a river of dust. It's a river full of dust.
No,
it's a dust river.
Full of
because
water.
Clearly, these are words coming from the president. We are looking at the words versus the reality. Is it not the same president who spent in excess of 100 billion with a SHA system that was supposed to be fraud-proof? But yesterday, it is no longer a secret that 11 billion has been squandered.
Where is the evidence?
Is it the minister
CS
in charge
is on record saying
of health
that it's actually 1.8 billion thereabout that has been squandered. Claims of up to 11 billion came that were not unverified. But the money that has been lost, quote unquote, according to the CS, is 1.8, and they're trying to recover it.
But is it not the same system that we invested so heavily in the public coffers so that it would be fraud-proof? What perturbs me about the minister's admission is that to date, he has not named those officers within the SHA who authorized for these payments that has been taken to court. We have an escapist government. The last time I heard the president talk about Vision 2030 was at the time of his campaigns. Now he's talking about the next 30 years will be in Singapore. Is it that we are going to change the name of the republic?
No.
Because clearly,
Okay.
the path we've taken is away from Singapore.
But I have to ask Wakili briefly, because the opposition has been put on the spot for sloganeering, for lack of a plan agenda.
Yes.
And we're dealing with a man who has been quite victorious in his political battles, President William Ruto. How tactful does this opposition need to be? Because they equally, just yesterday at Tufungamano, after the NDC by the DP party, they mentioned that they'll still work on promoting unity and fronting one presidential candidate.
Absolutely.
What do you make of their game plan in terms of whether policy promises and whether they have the manpower, the willpower to face off against a politician of William Ruto's magnitude?
I would have to make a concession that what William Ruto may have an advantage over all these politicians in the opposition is the money. He might have the money bags. I mean, he's a president who, within his regime, has borrowed in excess of 4 trillion with nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
I'm sure in 2027, we'll have another avalanche of money flowing. We saw that in Bere. I doubt that in 2027 it will be any different. But now, let's look at how Kenyan politics work. It is not that Ruto was such a sweetheart in 2022, or rather, that in 2017, Uhuru was the black messiah. Or better yet, in 2002, that Kibaki was our knight in a shining armor. It is Kenyan politics work with euphoria. How the incumbency carries a curse is beyond reproach. This current incumbency, the incumbent has the curse of failed promises, has the curse of the Gen Z protest, has the curse of a struggling economy that the united opposition don't need to shout so hard about their goodwill. The Kenyans are already shouting it. I am not myself a politician.
Okay.
I speak on behalf of any small Kenyans, and I say small because I stand the smallest. But to the extent that the president came with lofty promises, every other time he takes a microphone, he's willing to promise heaven on earth. But when it comes to delivery, he's willing to jump ship any day, anytime.
Okay.
Calling people from the mountain, when he comes to the mountain, he says, look, mimi siende kwa pumbavu. When he goes to the other side, this is a president who has mastered the art of double speech, who has mastered the art of platitudes. And unfortunately, unlike in 2002, unlike in 2002 we were fighting KANU, in 2013 we were fighting ICC, in 2017 we were fighting against the hardships of COVID-19, and the Uhuru had to take the blame for it. Otherwise, how do you explain today that he's now a darling of everyone, including those who opposed him? Every time he stands to the podium, everybody is shouting. Oh, even the mountain that told him, Marisa Wende, is asking, why are you quiet wakati tunafinyiliwa? It's not that Ruto has any magic in him. He just swam with the tide of a nation that was struggling with the COVID-19 pandemic and the hardship of economy. In 2027, he will now be the boogeyman that we shall ensure does not see the inside of State House unless we build one.
So what you're trying to say is that Kenyans don't know who will be president, but they know who will not be.
It will not be William Ruto.
Well, let's see.
That's an outright lie. And that's wishful thinking. And, those are those sloganeerings that are based on nothingness. Of course, because
it's called state of denial.
I mean, yeah, that is what you have. I mean, how do you... And that's why these guys have been losing. We have a president here, when UDA won as Kenya Kwanza, ANC was on its own. Now ANC is part of UDA. Our brothers and sisters in ODM, they've seen the good work the president is doing. We are formalizing our marriage. Now, This guy, have you used to watch wrestling?
It's called concubinage, not marriage.
Listen.
As a finalist, yes.
You used to watch wrestling. You'd see very small fellas coming up against giants, and they would be beaten into heap. I'm telling you here, and one thing, and you have pointed to him here, rightly. You know, President William Ruto, look at his track record, right from the time he was the Minister of Agriculture, and that's when I started following President Ruto.
Okay.
With me, I don't belong to those shenanigans that we were taken to him by anyone.
In a minute, Mahesh. Yes.
No one took me to President Ruto. You know, we met there.
Oh, okay.
And to his credit, for example, during President Kibaki's time, there was the issue of affordable housing. But a lot of politics came up.
But without the taxes.
Relax. They could, but where did you intend Kibaki to get the money? That is why
Kibaki
he didn't. No, he didn't. He didn't
Ruto
build.
has been taxing us to death.
Listen. You talked, I kept quiet. President Uhuru, you know, affordable housing was there. In the late Raila Odinga's manifesto, it was there. But it is President Ruto who actualized it.
All right.
And even this issue about SHA, which people, they keep talking about SHA. Of course, everything have challenges. But President Ruto, he's a practical person. You know this SHA, it is about health insurance for every Kenyan. We have had only leaders like myself. We are covered. The president has said every Kenyan have to be covered. You have to give credit where it is due. And one thing I'm very sure about is that even between now and next year, we shall have proved to Kenyans that President William Ruto is the best man for re-election. And I want to finish by quoting something the president told us one time.
Definitely, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, he just want to bring things here. I don't know. One time, I was with a few other people. We were about 7 of us. And President William Ruto told us, you see, if not for the people of Mount Kenya region, I would not have been a president of Kenya today. And so I'm promising there is no way my government will fail to work for the people of Mount Kenya region. The people of Mount Kenya region are part of this government. And by the time, don't think about platitude. You see, go to the Mount Kenya region. We have a lot of activities. We have a lot of projects,
and especially in Othaya, where Kenyans are being
that will be the
messages across. Wakili, 30 seconds. At the end of the day, so much will happen in this year in terms of politics. Anticipating ODM, UDA pre-election merger. But something interesting that was highlighted by the Speaker of the National Assembly, the attrition rate in Parliament is at 56%. Do you credit this to discontentment by the voters, by Kenyans?
Yes.
Why is this?
It is because of lack of proper leadership.
Okay.
Kenyans have had that challenge. And I think the attrition rate might rise, will definitely rise. Most of these people who are chanting UDA slogans are at disconnect with their electorates. Such that come 2027, it will be simply Kenyans reclaiming their power. And I want to urge my very good friend here to snap back into reality. That the bus is now boarding is without brakes and headed to self-destruction.
Well, time will tell. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time.
I want to takanyaga vibaya sana.
Without bus, with the UDA bus, they are already doing it.
Okay. Wakili na mheshimiwa, asanteni sana for your time. Kiroko Ndegwa, an advocate and political analyst, as well as Kiruga Thuku, a UDA NEC member and the member of County Assembly at Shinga Ward in Othaya constituency. Well, that's a wrap for us right here on KTN Prime. We appreciate your presence. Hope you're adequately informed. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. My name is Jesse Rogers. Good evening.